Hi, all right. So today I'm going to go over an intervention called the 30-second rule, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. So below I'm going to explain what it is. So it's an intervention, and it goes that if an intervention is going to help neurally with a person, it will do so in about 30 seconds. The rules are if you get a positive change, you can keep doing it in 30 to 60-second installments. If there is no change in that first attempt, then you get 2 to 3 more times to try it. And if it doesn't help it, then you move on. You don't stay there and try and do something that's not working. How I take that is taking it away from, say, for example, working on mobility or pain, and how it can effectively help people learn a movement and how you can teach a person a movement. So I'm going to break that down for you on the next page. So the way that I'm going to explain this is I'm going to give you an example. Examples really help me to understand, so I hope it will do the same for you. What I do is I'll show you how I break down a movement, and I'm going to use a squat clean today. So you can see below that I have how I break down my squat clean, okay? So I have my arm movement, I bring my legs and my arms together, then I go through jumping, and then we combine them together. Each single movement requires less than 30 seconds to explain. You will find that when you're teaching people, if you give them too much information in one sentence, that it'll go in one ear and out the other. So it's always much more effective to give one simple cue that the person can work with at a time, especially when being a beginner. So we can go over what I've got here. So arm movements, you've got high elbows, so you'll practice high elbows. Then you go elbows through to front rack position. Then we go to legs and arms, so we'll bend the knees, and then practice the arm movements with the knees bent. Then the bar to just above the knee, so increase the range of motion. Then we go over the jumping, so where your starting position, where your landing position is, and then we combine all of the movements. Okay, so I've broken the movements down. Once you break the movement down, then you bring it all back together. So rather than trying to do the whole complicated movement, such as a squat clean, in one explanation, you break it down, then you bring it all back together. So that's the first thing about using the 30 seconds rule, is that if you can teach somebody something quickly, get them to succeed, then they'll be able to move on and be able to learn something new. Another way that I use the 30-second rule in something like this is cueing. If somebody does not understand a cue that you were using after 2 to 3 attempts, then you move on and you try a different cue. Say, for example, you've been doing really well, the client has learnt the majority of the movement, but when you take the barbell down to just above the knee and you ask them to keep the barbell close to their body on the way up, they continuously leave the barbell out in front, okay? So they're not getting the bar path correct. So you've tried keep the barbell close to your body, keep the barbell close to your body, keep the barbell close to your body, and they're just not responding to it. You can try something different, like don't let the barbell leave your pants on the way up, or I'm going to stand really close to you and I need you to make sure that you keep that barbell away from me and close to you. So just like we spoke about in the beginning, that if something does not work for somebody after 2 to 3 times, then you need to move on to a more effective and more efficient cue or movement for that person. All right, take home message. What do I mean when I want you to apply the 30-second rule to teaching a movement and to training? What I mean is that teaching movements need to be simple and effective, okay? Pick one small thing, make sure that the person understands it, and then move on to the next one. Make sure that the cues or the instructions that you are giving are simple and effective. That means that the person understands what they need to do and are able to do it. You need to also understand that every single person that walks into your clinic or to your gym is different. If a cue or an instruction does not work for somebody after trying it 2 to 3 times, then you need to move on. You need to try a different cue. You need to find something that clicks with them. Last thing to consider is progress, or how to progress your client. Once they understand the basics of a complex movement, then how can you improve it? Say, for example, focusing on bar path or full extension in a squat clean or catching position, anything along those lines. You also need to, as a coach or a trainer, really need to be able to work with the client and find different ways to help them understand and find as many different ways to do that as possible. The more that you can offer to a person, the more successful that they will be. All right, good. That's all from me today. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that this is helpful.